welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History. I'm Claire Ridgway. I'm the author of several Tudor history books, and I also run the Tudor Society, which is a hub for all things Tudor, and the Anne Boleyn Files blog as well. Okay, today I'm taking you back to 1589. So that's in the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, who was, of course, the last Tudor monarch. On this day in Tudor history, the 5th of July, 1589, Joan Cunny, or Coney, it's spelt in different ways in the primary sources, one of the notorious Essex Witches was hanged at Chelmsford in the county of Essex in the south of England. Now, Joan Cunny was born in around 1508 and was from Stystead in Essex. Joan was accused of killing her neighbours, so she was accused of murder, and causing a great storm as well. Now, Cunny had told of how she had learnt witchcraft 20 years earlier from a woman who had told her to kneel in a circle and pray to Satan to conjure her familiar and to also conjure spirits. And Joan said that she'd done that and had given her soul to these spirits before taking the spirits home with her to nourish them, to feed them. Joan then used these spirits to commit evil acts, allegedly. Now, the pre-trial examination of Joan, along with those of Joan Prentice and Joan Upney, were published in 1589 as The Apprehension and Confession of Three Notorious Witches, a pamphlet that was sold because these women's crimes became so notorious. Now, as historian Kate Cole has pointed out, this pamphlet was a sort of tabloid report full of gossip and tittle-tattle rather than a serious account of their examinations. So a tabloidy style pamphlet, just one of those like some of today's press, where it's not really interested in being accurate, it's just interested in grabbing people's attention. This pamphlet said of Joan Cunny, living very lewdly, having two lewd daughters, no better than naughty packs, had two bastard children, being both boys. These children were chief witnesses and gave in great evidence against their grandam and mothers, the eldest being about 10 or 12 years of age. Against this Mother Cunny, the elder boy gave in this evidence, which she herself after confessed, that she was going to Braintree Market, came to one Harry Finch's house to demand some drink. His wife, being busy and a brewing, told her that she had no pleasure to give her any. Then Joan Cunny went away discontented, and at night Finch's wife was grievously taken in her head, and the next day in her side, and so continued in most horrible pain for the space of a week, and then died. And it was believed that Joan had used her witchcraft on Finch's wife, that she'd sort of cursed her and made her become ill and die. So it was murder. Joan Cunny's daughters, Avis and Margaret, were also charged with witchcraft in 1589. Avis was sentenced to hanged like her mother, but pleaded pregnancy, pleaded the belly, and so was hanged in 1590 after the birth of her baby, for her baby was considered innocent. Margaret, Avis's sister, was found guilty of 2 counts of bewitchment and sentenced to a year of imprisonment and 6 appearances in the stocks. Avis and Margaret's illegitimate sons, Joan's grandsons, as I said from the pamphlet, were among those who accused these women of witchcraft. Joan Prentice, who had a ferret-shaped familiar named Satan, who sucked her blood and who'd allegedly killed a child, was also hanged on the 5th of July, as was Joan Upney of Dagenham, whose daughters were also accused of witchcraft. And these 3 women are all mentioned in the pamphlet. Upney was accused of 2 murders. Now, historian Kate Cole explains that the women hanged on this day in Tudor history in 1589 were hanged for murder by witchcraft, and that they hadn't been working together. Sorry, the dog's barking at something outside. They hadn't been working together and probably didn't know each other. They were just hanged together. They were punished together. These three women, these three Joans, were three of 31 Essex people, 30 women and one man, who were accused of witchcraft under the 1563 Witchcraft Act. The full name of the act, an act against conjurations, enchantments and witchcrafts. And according to this act, this legislation, anyone who did use, practice or exercise any witchcraft, enchantment, charm or sorcery, whereby any person shall happen to be killed or destroyed, was to be put to death. Now, I'll give you a link to read the full text of this act for yourself so you can see just what it involved. It's a little bit of trivia now. Kate Cole has pointed out that English witches were prosecuted for murder and therefore hanged to death, hanging being the punishment for murder, whereas witches in Scotland were tried for heresy and therefore burnt at the stake. So different punishments in the different countries simply because their crimes were handled differently. One was seen as heresy, one was seen as murder. And if you're a Tudor Society member, you can actually listen to historian Kate Cole's absolutely wonderful talk on the witches of Elizabethan and Stuart Essex on the website. And I'll give you a link to that to remind you, if you're a Tudor Society member, to go and have a listen. It is an excellent talk, very, very interesting. So that's what happened on this day in Tudor history in 1589. These women who have gone down in history as the Essex Witches were hanged for murder by witchcraft. Okay, you can subscribe to this channel by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified, and please do give me a like as well if you've enjoyed this talk. But I'll be back tomorrow with another Tudor history event for you. Take care. Bye-bye.